Welcome to Dudes on Movies, a podcast where dudes talk about movies. I'm your dude, Scott.
I'm your dude, Dave.
And today we're discussing 1989's The Karate Kid Part 3, directed by John G. Avildsen and starring Ralph Macchio and Pat Morita. But before we do that, let's talk about what we've been watching. Dave, what have you been watching?
I went to see Killers of the Flower Moon.
Boom.
Yes. I'd read the book beforehand, and like it's very different from the book because the book is like just, it's true, it's nonfiction. The movie has to sort of create a narrative, but it is an important film, everybody, and we all need to see it. Probably see it more than once because it's like what Martin Scorsese is focusing on in his later years is like evil in America, and I really admire his choices. I really admire the film. And it was a great movie. Yeah,
cool. I watched. You can't call it a great movie, Dave. I watched a movie called 65. It came out earlier this year or last year or something.
Okay.
You might, after I describe it, you might remember the trailer. But Adam Driver crash lands on Earth 65 million years ago.
Oh, that movie?
And he must get himself to the escape ship before the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs hits the planet.
That's right.
Let that sink in a bit.
Yeah,
that's a movie.
Yeah.
I love the conceit of this movie.
Right.
I'll applaud the balls to make a movie about this.
Yeah, that's original.
But it's something I probably invented in 4th grade at one point and probably actually drew pictures of it.
Yeah.
It's not a good film, everybody. It's a by-the-numbers, like, sci-fi, survival, adventure film, and there's another survivor on it, and it's a little girl, and so, like, there's a father-daughter relationship. They don't speak the same language, so they have trouble communicating, but he's trying to get them off the planet, and, she doesn't understand him, so she gets into dangerous situations, but then when it's convenient for the script, she understands what he's yelling at her as a T-Rex is about to attack,
Yeah.
So, they do something interesting with that at one point, but it still really isn't anything that makes it a great movie or anything. But I think it's a failure of a film, definitely.
Yeah.
It could have been something great. It's very high concept, and I love original sci-fi ideas, but this just was not it.
Well, it's weird because I remember seeing the trailer when I went to the theater, and I haven't thought of it since until just now. So
Exactly, right?
That's really something.
All right, so let's talk about a movie called The Karate Kid Part 3, Dave.
Okay.
Why don't you give everyone a synopsis?
Yes. This film is, of course, the final installment of the original Karate Kid trilogy from the 1980s, and it finds Daniel and Mr. Miyagi returning from Okinawa and making a new enemy from the ashes of an old one. John Kreese's benefactor in Cobra Kai is the billionaire Terry Silver, who was in Kreese's outfit in Vietnam. And since Daniel's All Valley victory, Kreese is now on hard times, and after Silver learns what's become of Kreese's life, he sets in motion a revenge plot to torture Daniel and give Kreese his life back. It's a film that has its problems, and we're going to try and sort through it with you.
That was an excellent description of this film, Dave.
Thank you, yes.
Much more than it deserves, actually.
Right.
All right, listeners out there, we love The Karate Kid.
Yeah.
So here we go. It's the final one in the original trilogy that we just love.
Yes.
We eat up this trilogy. But it kicks off right after the events of Part 2, but not after a recap of Part 1.
I mean, not many franchises get away with recycling this much footage from the previous films in the series.
It's Avildsen, man. He does it in everything.
Yeah, you're right. He does. It's something he just enjoys, and like. It's amazing, though, because it goes, like, beat for beat. I mean, like, it focuses, it shows you the whole last match between Johnny and Daniel.
Yeah.
And then it shows you the aftermath in the parking lot that was originally going to be the ending of Part 1, but was then made into the beginning of Part 2.
Right.
And it's kind of an abbreviated version, but it's not that abbreviated. I mean, you're there for 10 minutes watching footage from the previous movies.
Ever. Like, and they show the scene when Daniel originally walks into the dojo and sees everyone training from Part 1.
Yeah.
And as soon as Kreese tells everyone to get up off the ground, they jump up, and then he says, rise up or something. I don't know. And then, like, it hits you hard.
Yeah, it hits you something. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
it kind of smacks you.
I mean,
You're like, what is? I know all this. Just get to the movie.
And that's the problem is that like it would be one thing if you knew all of it and it was a regular movie, but like it's a movie series. And anybody who's going to the theater to see Karate Kid Part 3 is very familiar with Part 1 and 2.
Yes, they are.
And I'm always amazed. And I think that probably it might be Avildsen. It might also be just the studio who asked him to do it. Because like a lot of times when you have something that's familiar to, has a cult following, the studio will ask you to lampshade it for people. Because they really do think that like someone's going to come in and not having seen the previous two films and go, well, I don't get this. What's going on?
You know what?
They want to make the movie for that person.
Yeah. I know how you feel about it. It's the same way I feel about it.
Yeah.
That's on them.
I totally agree. I mean,
we don't have to spoon feed them the first film.
And they're not going to go. And if they do go, then and they do say that, well, that you're right. It's on them.
Then you bought the wrong ticket.
Exactly. What kind of person walks into like Part 3 of a trilogy when they haven't seen the first two films?
An idiot.
I'm an absolute moron.
Daniel might. He might.
Is he dumb enough to do it? You're right. Yes.
Yeah, he might take Robin Lively to see Back to the Future 3, but he hasn't seen the other ones, you know?
You're right. Daniel Larusso is this dense.
But yeah, they spend the first 10 minutes recapping this crap. And like it ends with Miyagi humiliating Kreese, you know? And then all of a sudden, it shows Kreese like walking down the street and like he's all disheveled and like his life is ruined.
Right.
Because Miyagi let him live. What does he say? Miyagi says living's even a worse punishment than death.
Yes.
For people like that.
Yes. It's him humiliating Miyagi humiliating Kreese in the parking lot is a fate worse than death, according to Mr. Miyagi, and apparently John Kreese feels the same way.
God, you know what my biggest problem with this movie is? I'm just going to come out right now and say it.
Yeah.
The stakes are so high, and they're bullshit and mean nothing.
Yes.
Like, they pretend like Cobra Kai opening a new dojo is the end of the universe.
And there's also the whole business of, obviously, you know, Daniel signing the contract to fight at the All Valley.
Yeah.
As if it's a legally binding document.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
This fucking permission slip for a karate tournament.
Right. You're going on your field trip, Daniel.
I mean,
like,
dude.
What?
It's such...
Exactly.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, like, that's my big beef with the film. It's just the stakes are bogus.
Yeah, I know.
And they play it up so hard.
And they try to... I don't know if they're trying to elicit sympathy for Kreese in the beginning of the movie, like, because he is a pathetic figure.
He is.
You know?
Yeah.
And you look at just even to the details of like his Reeboks are all kind of like dingy. Like when
they're dirty.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like he bends down to get his mail that he hasn't been collecting. It's been piling up.
All these
there on
bills
the slot.
are piling up.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then he gets an answering machine message from Pat Johnson, you know, telling him that you know, yeah, the Cobra Kai hasn't you know, like paid their dues yet, so we're gonna like cut them off from the All Valley.
We got to drop you from the tournament.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, and you know, like, honestly, anyone watching it, you're going to feel sympathy for him because he's a fellow human being. Yeah. But then you remember all the shit he did.
Right. Even if you do get sympathy here for him, you lose it pretty quick.
Exactly. And yeah, there's that because of, what happens later. But like, you know, he then goes to this compound.
To like an Aztec temple.
I mean, like this house from freaking Blade Runner. I mean, like it's really like it's this massive castle in the Hollywood Hills. There's smoke billowing out of it at all times. I mean, like it's a major compound.
It's probably toxic waste burning.
It probably
as
is.
We come to find out
that's true because that's Terry Silver's business.
But yeah, it's got this like Mesoamerican like walls. Like it's just made of Aztec. He probably like took a temple from Mexico and transplanted it into his mansion.
I know.
He would do that.
Oh, he definitely would. Yeah, he would definitany raid an archaeological site.
And we're talking about Terry Silver, everybody. He's the new villain of the film.
Yes.
Played by Thomas Ian
Griffith.
I always mess up his name, dude.
Do you get him confused with Henry Rowan Gardner?
I guess. I don't know. I just get his name mixed up all the time. But apparently this is his first movie? The credits say introducing Thomas Ian Griffith.
Thomas Ian Griffith, yeah. It's surprising that this is his first film. I mean, you know, Okay, got it. I mean, because he played Rock Hudson in a TV movie the same year.
Yeah.
So it must have come out after this.
I guess so, but he is like just chewing it up
Yeah.
in this movie. He
Yes.
is like an over the top
I know.
cartoon villain.
Oh yeah.
And he does a great job with it though. His performance is pretty awesome.
He's my favorite part of the movie. You
Yeah.
know, like easily.
yeah.
And
And it's the dumbest part of the movie.
oh yeah, of course. and I think he knows it, and I think that's what
Yeah.
makes it great.
Yeah.
His performance is over the top, but it's like calls for it because Terry Silver is a larger than life figure.
He is.
He's a billionaire toxic waste dumper who according to him, every time he does a deal, he gets indicted, and he like has the attorney general over to like buy him off and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I mean, and we see him in the fortress there. He takes meetings in bubble baths.
Yeah, he's in a hot tub,
Right.
chomping a cigar. Yeah.
And then the rest of the time he's working out with like these like his hired goons do sort of like spar with him.
Yeah.
And they're wearing padding and he's not, and he's just like absolutely housing everybody. And he's a great martial artist.
He's
Thomas Ian Griffith.
incredibly good,
Yeah.
dude. So yeah, he's on full display in this film. Like
Right.
everyone else doing karate in this, it's a lot of cuts.
I mean, dude, yeah, exactly. He's the one with the goods.
yeah.
You know.
I mean, Mike Barnes has got it too.
Yeah, he
like
does.
the bad guy's got it.
I know the Cobras are really they've really got a lot going
Daniel's
for
not
them.
as flexible as
I mean-
he used to be now that he's 46 years old. You know? He looks so much older than this movie takes place right after the second movie, which takes place right after the first movie. The whole trilogy takes place within a year.
Yeah.
And he looks like he's aged 20 years.
Well, I mean, he's 20.
Not 20,
He's
I'm exaggerating,
27.
but yeah.
Playing a guy who's 18.
He looks 27.
He does.
He doesn't look 18 anymore.
And apparently Thomas Ian Griffith was also 27 when they made this movie.
Really?
He's actually on calendar, he's 4 months younger than Ralph Macchio.
That's awesome.
I mean, like this
And
guy
he's playing a guy twice his age.
he's playing a guy who was in Vietnam.
yeah.
Like and I mean, it's amazing that like people play older sometimes. It does happen, but like not like this. I mean, he's playing him and Kreese are supposed to be the same age.
I believed it.
Yeah, I bought it too.
Did you
No,
believe it, or
I
do you
thought
look
that
like, hey, he's a little too young for that?
No, the first time I saw it, I totally bought it. But once
Yeah.
I found out like that he's 27, I was like, it's not a big deal. It's just kind of a funny detail.
Yeah,
that, like this guy is supposed to be
It's
a
an
Vietnam
amusing
veteran.
casting thing.
It is
you know?
exactly that this guy who was 7 years old when the war broke out is considered a veteran.
So Kreese goes to his compound for some reason, basically just to say, "Hey, here's the keys to the dojo you helped me get. We're ruined."
yeah, because we don't know why he's there. He just asks for
Yeah.
the boss when he gets there. Hey, where's the boss?
Right. And like we overhear him talking on the phone about some toxic waste, and it's just like briefly mentioned, just casually. You can't dump nuclear waste anymore.
Yeah.
Like this is what kind of world are we living in?
Right.
And you find out later his company is called Dynatox Industries.
I mean, it's
Tox is in the name.
like there are people who dump toxic waste and there are obviously profiteers of that kind of
Yes.
thing. They don't put it in the title of their company.
Right. Your company. Oh,
It's called something else.
yes.
And I guess I kind of like admire the movie for deciding, okay, you know what? Rich people suck. And especially the ones who do this kind of stuff, who are like not eco terrorists. That's something different.
Yeah.
Whatever this person is who like wants to destroy the environment for
Yeah.
profit. Yeah, his company is called Dinotox.
Yeah. So he convinces Kreese, hey, you just got knocked down. You got to get back up, right? And
Right.
I'm going to help you because how many times did you save my ass in Vietnam?
Kreese-
Too many to count.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
These scenes are so poorly written.
I mean, well, let's just get into it now
Yeah.
then, because I gotta say that like this movie, if it didn't have all these beloved characters that we know, it would just be a really boring film.
It would be unwatchable.
I know, because some
Yeah.
of the scenes like the scenes with Kreese and Terry Silver are very badly written, but they're badly written in like an action movie context.
Right, yeah.
And it's kind of like the bad writing that I can take that I find palatable.
Yeah.
I like when they like dap each other up and say Cobra Kai never dies. That's kind of funny.
Yep.
But like the bad writing that comes later the scenes between Daniel and Jessica.
Yeah.
I mean, it's depressing,
They're not that great.
No. Some of their dialogue feels like Saved by the Bell. I mean, it's...
They look like Saved by the Bell.
It does.
Yeah.
And it's not their fault. It's Robert Mark Kamen's fault for writing this screenplay.
Yeah.
I mean, for writing this dialogue in these scenes. And I think the reason I dislike it so much is because the other characters seem to exist in like a totally different world.
It is. It's weird.
You know, and
the good guys and bad guys are from different universes.
I know. And you mentioned the stakes earlier.
Yeah.
Obviously, apart from just like the Cobra Kai dojo, like, you know, the chain taking off. Mike Barnes at one point physically assaults Jessica.
Yeah.
And threatens her with gang rape.
Yeah.
In this PG-rated movie.
Yeah.
That is essentially for children.
I had to make a note of this. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, this is what we're talking about. And we just got done with
the
these
80s.
scenes that are like really chaste, you know, back and forth between a guy and a girl, like teenagers meeting on a date.
Yeah, they're platonic. They like even spell it out at the beginning. Hey, she says, I got a boyfriend already, but we can be friends, you know? So.
Which is odd because when they first meet, it's not like that.
Right. It's like she's really interested.
I mean, she full on like makes moves on him to, you know, like get him.
Her boyfriend's head is ripped off the picture and she says something about it and says he sucks and she keeps pressing Daniel about getting a date.
I know.
And then he comes over for the date that night.
Right.
And she says, hey, sorry, I wasn't honest with you. He is my boyfriend again. We're giving it another shot.
I found out why this scene exists.
Okay.
It's because of production problems.
Okay.
And it's Ralph Macchio's fault.
Really? What'd he do?
He was married at the time, and he did not want his wife to get jealous. So he asked them to rewrite the script so that they would be platonic friends.
What?
Yeah.
And
they had already shot the meet scene, and they decided to like keep it in, like her being really coming on real strong. I know.
Dave, you just pissed me off.
I'm sorry, dude. Exactly. I know.
This is the worst.
It is. It's totally on Ralph Macchio.
It makes so much sense. This movie is a mess.
I know. Right.
Oh my God.
I mean, how do you one of the hallmarks obviously of Karate Kid is that like he always has a love interest, I guess, but like, and I'm not saying you need one, but to like have it be where like he's an actor in the movies.
Yeah.
And you have sometimes romantic partners in movies, and I'm sure his wife understands that.
I would hope so.
But like, you know, okay, dude, and it's not going to be, you know, anything disgusting or distasteful.
Right, it's Karate
it's
Kid
the Karate
3,
Kid,
you know?
Exactly.
Last Tango and Reseda.
There it is.
That's it. Last Tango in L.A. would be a good title, though. That would be a good one.
It is a good title, but I think Last Tango in Reseda is very niche.
Yes,
that really works.
identifies what we're watching.
Exactly,
here.
yes.
But wow, that's insane. I can't believe that. But
and it's so jarring because like when Robin Lively comes to the door that night when they're going on the date, and she just like full on just drops it like, oh listen, that guy from the picture, he's now my boyfriend again, and we're gonna give it another shot.
It's like 4 hours later in movie time.
Exactly.
Like he went home, changed, and came back.
And you really can't. Exactly. I know.
And she's like, I talked to him on the phone, and we're giving it another shot.
And
am I really that ugly, Ralph? You don't want to kiss me, Ralph?
I know.
I'm Robin Lively, goddammit.
I'm Teen Witch.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, and that was the other thing, too. Apparently, he also had issues with, like, she said it was hard to work with him because he's 27 years old in real life, and she was 16. That was another part
That's
of
another
it.
issue.
Exactly. So he thought it was, like, wrong or whatever to, like, pursue this, even on screen, even though he's playing an 18-year-old, that it was bad or whatever. But it's like, look, there could have been things you could have done.
I can get more on that side of things.
Yes, of course.
You know, she's 16. Maybe you shouldn't get a kiss, but you can still act like you're dating.
Of course.
You know?
Yeah, you could hold hands and you know, it could be like maybe it doesn't all have it be to where she actually is going back to Ohio at some point. She says, I'm going to move, but we can still try and have this date, you know?
Yeah.
Instead of this kind of like toothless, we're now friends and eating macaroni and cheese together.
Yes.
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, it does not. We're jumping all over this movie because the movie is It deserves it.
It deserves it.
it.
Exactly.
So,
There's no reason to
Yeah.
go whole. And I mean, obviously, just like other things we've done, if you download a podcast called Karate Kid Part 3, there's a good chance that we don't need to hold your hand through this plot. You've seen it a million times.
yeah, we're just friends.
That's right. We have a platonic friendship with you, and please enjoy yourself,
Dude. And we haven't even met Daniel or Miyagi yet in this movie, except for the 10 minutes of flashbacks.
Well, that's
right?
the thing,
Yeah.
dude. It's like when we see them leaving the airport, when Kreese is dropped off by Terry Silver at the airport
To go to Tahiti to
mean-
find himself, to get refreshed.
For all of Terry Silver's misdeeds, he is one hell of a great friend.
He is.
You know,
he's someone you want in your corner.
holy crap. I mean, he's like as loyal as you can be. He not only helps you get back on your feet, he whisks you away on a first-class vacation to the South Pacific, all expenses paid.
Right.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
He-
Andy's going to dedicate his life henceforth
my
to
God.
revenge for you.
with all of his resources, like
Yeah.
just
all the
limitless
power
funds.
of Dynatox Industry
Exactly,
is behind
yes,
him.
Yes. He tells his secretary, like, hold all my appointments for the next 6 months. This is my thing. I'm not going to worry about toxic waste. My all my billionaire business is away.
Yes. And they have 3 beater cars for him to choose from
amazing,
for his like undercover persona.
That's so good.
It's like, what the hell? And then there's the Rolls Royce is like right there at the end.
Yes.
You know, his normal ride.
And I love what he's wearing on his evening out. He's got like black tie and everything. And he's got a watch fob.
Yeah.
And his ponytail is in a really nice white bow. Like,
It's the nicest greasy ponytail I've ever seen.
I mean, this is where it kind of starts as
Yeah.
far as like, because I think we talked about it on the Time Cop episode. Like when you see henchmen who look like this in late 80s, early 90s,
Yeah.
it almost looks like the hair is painful. Like, because it's
Right.
tied so tight.
It's all really taut.
Exactly.
You know? Ugh.
I had this exact hairdo at
No,
one point.
you didn't.
Yes, I did. Way later than I should have. Like it was
I believe that.
far after it was out of fashion. I somehow had it.
Was it still the 90s when you got rid of it?
Yes.
Okay, good.
All
right.
Yes, and I had that much,
Okay,
sense.
yeah.
But like,
You're like, there's a new millennium coming. I need to get rid of this thing.
but yeah, I had a greasy, slicked back hair into a ponytail, and
That's okay.
I'm not going to say that it wasn't because of Terry Silver, because I really admired this guy's look. I thought he looked great.
Yeah, this guy's he's a good looking dude.
Yeah.
He's charismatic as all get out, even
Right.
though he's a bad guy, But
He's 6'5".
Yeah.
and like just
a karate master.
I know.
This is who you would want to be.
absolutely, he's great looking.
A billionaire,
Yes,
a master manipulator.
I mean, yeah, all the
Maybe
money
you don't
can-
want that one.
Yeah, exactly. I probably, man, I hate to say that I would want to be a billionaire, but I would definitely do good in the world if I were. I wouldn't do like Terry
You
Silver.
would clean up toxic waste.
Hey, there it is.
There you
Exactly. I'd make sure to take out all the bad guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does pick the Ford Courier, like this beat up truck, and he gets into his Rolls Royce in the limousine. His chauffeur is taking him for his evening out, and he gets out like his secretary Margaret had given him this manila envelope with karate magazines in
Yeah.
it.
Right.
And one of them features like a karate's bad boy, Mike Barnes.
Mike Barnes.
Yes.
Played by Sean Kanan, I guess.
I'd say Kanan.
Kanan?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
He's a soap opera actor who, like, he's got this one, and he's been in a ton of soap operas. He's
Okay.
probably got a lot of money.
I bet.
But...
He's got that and 50% of Cobra Kai. Actually, he doesn't, right? Because he didn't win the
he
match.
didn't win the match, so he doesn't
Spoiler
get it.
for the end of
Exact-
Karate Kid Part 3.
Yes. The deal was, like, because he Terry Silver sees the ad in this karate magazine and decides he needs to, retain the services of karate's bad boy.
Yeah, he's got
Mike
him on a
Barnes.
retainer.
Yes. It's part of his plan.
Yeah.
And so, Mike Barnes shows up to, to this
This is
Blade
when he's
Runner
in the hot
castle.
tub.
Yes, and he takes this meeting, and he offers him that if he does this thing in which he needs to, the whole plan is he's going to fight Daniel Larusso in the tournament, and if he wins, he gets 25% of Cobra Kai dojos. He's going to open dojos across the country.
Yeah.
And, this chain is going to be huge. And Mike Barnes will be a quarter owner of it.
Mm-hmm.
And Mike is going to take this deal, but he wants half.
Yep.
And Terry Silver acquiesces because he likes Mike's attitude.
Yep, he does. And his job is also to humiliate Daniel and ruin his life.
Right.
Not just win.
Right.
He's got to humiliate him. And he's got the help of two goons with him, Snake and Dennis. Snake is played by Jonathan Alvidson.
Yeah.
Which is the director's son.
Pretty damn gross.
Yeah.
You know.
And he is more cartoonish than anyone.
He was originally cast as Karate's bad boy Mike Barnes.
Was he?
Yes.
Okay.
He was going to win the job. I mean, like, it was when the script was, like, kind of in a different phase. Like, they had, like, different characterization for Mike Barnes. But, yeah, John Avildsen was about to foist his little son on us as the main antagonist of the Karate Kid 3. Thankfully, that didn't happen. Yeah. And, you know, Sean Kanan was definitely the better choice.
Definitely. He's got a presence about him, and he's believable. I believe this guy's a maniac who wants to kick ass, and that's it.
I mean, Mike Barnes feels like a truly invincible opponent, you know?
Yeah, he does.
Sean Kanan gives a really effective performance, and he's a really gifted athlete and martial artist, like we've said.
Yep.
If you lack self-confidence, he's the kind of competitor who could intimidate you into losing even before you begin the match.
Yeah. If he was in bodybuilding, he'd be Arnold.
Yes, exactly.
You know, he would ruin you mentally.
Absolutely. When I was a kid watching this movie, I was really scared of this guy.
Yeah.
You know,
he reminded me of, like, I was scared of, like, Chad McQueen from the first one.
Oh, Dutch? Yeah.
Dutch was scary.
Yeah.
This guy's like, take it to 11, man.
Yeah.
This is the guy you avoided on the playground. Like, you don't go near this guy.
He's super aggressive.
Yeah.
And he's tough. He's a bully who actually is tough, who will beat you, you know? And that's not, I don't admire those kinds of people.
No.
I fear them. I wish they didn't exist. But, like, if you're a kid who had those kinds of issues where you were picked on, I mean, like, he would just terrorize you, you know?
Yeah, he totally would. That's crazy that Snake was originally someone else.
I know.
But no, John Alvidson, his son, is a good number 2 as Snake.
I think. He is. He's a good, like, bully's number 2. He's kind of small, and he has a good laugh, and he's good at, like, kind of being the hype man.
He's very
for Mike.
expressive.
Yeah. It's weird too that, like, with Terry Silver hiring Mike Barnes, he also has, like,
these other
Snake
guys?
and Dennis, like, who work for him as just, like, hoodlums for hire.
Yeah. He hires these 3 teenagers. Hey, you guys are best friends now, and your job is to be bullies to this 27-year-old. Wait, sorry, he's 18. That's right. Or he's under 18. It's the All Valley under 18. He's not even 18 yet.
The timeline is all screwed up here. Mm-hmm. Tell me.
Well, in the first movie, he gets his driver's license. He turned 16, right?
Okay, now I meant
so it's been about a year, so he's got to be 17.
I meant to check this out. Does he turn 16 in the first movie? Is that what it is?
I think he has to because he gets his driver's license.
Okay, then it is messed up because the first movie was released in 1984, and even though Part 2 came out in 86, that film took place 6 months after the events of the first movie. So now you have this movie that was released in 89, but takes place roughly 3 months after the end of the second movie, which puts it 1 year after the beginning of the first one.
Okay.
Now, during the first movie, if Daniel turned 16 and got his license a couple days before the All Valley in December, here we are 9 months after the All Valley of 1984, and somehow Daniel is still technically 16, but he's entering college.
No, he's got to be 17, and he's going to turn 18?
I don't think so.
Okay, this doesn't make any sense now.
He turned 16 at, like, toward the end, like right before the All Valley, which was in December of 84. Okay. If this movie is within the same kind of calendar year, this is probably like September of 85. So he's still 16. and he's somehow, like, he's got this pocket full of cash
this guy
that he's supposed to spend college.
Yeah, he's not smart enough to get out of high school early, I'll tell you that much.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay,
he's not.
The Karate Kid math doesn't add up.
It doesn't. He's not young Sheldon, that's for sure. He's not like graduating early.
And you know what's awesome? A world where you could go to college with the money in your pocket, you know?
Oh my God.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Can you imagine? He just has the money to pay for college.
Yeah, and he pulls it all out. He's like, look, Miyagi.
I know.
And this is my college money. It's just like a wad of money.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, it's not.
Well,
it's not
Sally Mae's money, is
exactly.
it? No.
Yes,
okay.
Right.
You're going to have to sell Uncle Louie to pay for your bills?
I mean,
Man,
this
what
is
a time to be alive.
This is a fantasy.
Yeah,
like
right.
we would never conceive of such a thing.
Right.
And yeah, he's. I guess the whole thing of his college fund came into play in part 2 as well, because he used part of it on his ticket for Okinawa.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we know that he's got this like kind of just. I'm going to say it's probably about $3,000.
Yeah.
Total.
Yeah.
And it's just something to get him started, I guess.
Right. I don't think he can go to med school on it. You know,
exactly.
he's just going to go.
Yes.
Like he says, I'm just going to go to school and take classes that I'm not going to like anyway.
Right.
They've got a good message here about college, everybody. Think about it. Don't just do it to do it.
You're right.
You know? Do it because you want to.
That is a good message. Yeah, I mean, like letting kids know, especially in 1989, that college is a scam.
Yeah.
And that there's wonderful things about it that you can, if you take like classes with interesting literature and history and science professors, that's one thing. But that's not what you're there for. You're there to get a piece of paper that will like somehow guarantee you a job that pays you less than what you actually need.
Exactly. Yeah. And Daniel's got the right idea. Hey, let's open a bonsai store,
Right.
Let's do that. Instead of me wasting 4 years of my life for no good reason.
If it's successful, it's a great idea.
Yeah, right.
It's
a risky move, I think.
Yeah.
Daniel is really excited about it. It could work.
Right.
He has the passion, and Miyagi has always dreamed of doing it.
That's true.
So I think they could make it work. But
Yeah.
it is it's like a half-baked scheme almost. What they do here.
Right.
Well, Daniel kind of does it.
Right, because he brings the idea up because when they first get back from the airport after getting back from Okinawa, they find that like the South Sea apartments where they live is being torn down. While they were overseas, their home is just being razed.
Yeah.
And the lady, Mrs. Milo from the first movie, she comes out and she tells him, what's going on. And Miyagi has to clean out because he was the maintenance man there. So he has to clean out his area where he kept all of his stuff. And they have to go to his place to live now. And Mrs. Mama Larusso is away in New Jersey taking care of Uncle Louie.
Yeah.
And so now it's just Miyagi and Daniel living together at Miyagi's really nice house.
Right. And yes, and Miyagi's awesome.
Yes.
He's just letting this twerp live with him.
I mean, how generous are you? Like to take anybody in, let alone, but actually in this case, taking in Daniel freaking LaRusso.
Man, we rip on Daniel so hard, deservedly.
Deservedly
But their
so.
relationship is very authentic and sincere.
Of course.
And it's what makes these movies work.
Yes, it's the heart of it. I mean, like as hard as we are on Daniel, we actually do like him. In many ways,
Yes.
It's just that he's really hard to like. As we see both from us, Miyagi finds him hard to like.
Yeah, yeah. And there's the scene when they take the final thing from this wherever Miyagi was working in the closet down there.
Right.
And he stands there and he just takes a look around like, wow, this is finally ended. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
And it's a really touching moment because it's a huge part of this guy's life is just ended. And now he's got to figure out something else.
I mean, Pat Morita had been acting for a long time, of course, but this is his most famous role, and he knew the character so well. And he, even though he didn't get the acclaim for parts 2 and 3 that he got for part 1, he's just as good in all 3 movies.
He is. I forgot how good he is in this one.
Right.
I've seen the first 2 a million times. I've seen this one maybe 500,000 times. So I don't know it as well.
I know, exactly. Right.
But yeah, Miyagi is so good in this. And especially when Daniel's starting to go down the wrong path and he's not letting Miyagi help him, you know?
Yeah.
Miyagi is refusing to help him, just to be fair.
Yeah.
But he does, Daniel goes about things the wrong way 99% of the time.
I know.
So Miyagi even says at one point, his heart is empty without him, and he's in tears.
It's so sad.
His tears coming down his face. And it's just heartbreaking to see what Daniel is doing to this man out of just being stubborn, basically.
I have it, it's really hard for me when I see an old person crying. I mean, that is truly, that's pathetic, and I just can't take it. So, and because he he's so good in this movie. When Pat Morita starts bawling, it's like, oh my God, I'm just, I'm overcome with it.
Oh my God, I might cry at Karate Kid Part 3.
I know, exactly. Dude. How dare I'm mad at myself for letting this movie make me emotional.
Exactly. And it's because of these characters. Like you said, the only reason this movie has anything to it is because of the characters that we love.
Yes. And they were established in 2 really excellent films.
Yes.
But they're now living in Miyagi's place, and Daniel used his college fund against Mr. Miyagi's wishes.
And behind his back.
To buy property on Skid Row that's going to be this bonsai store.
Yeah.
And like Daniel, he's a kid. So he's like parroting all the stuff that the realtor told him about how like this neighborhood's really coming up and everything, and they're getting in on the ground floor, Mr. Miyagi, and all this stuff.
How can he even like sign these documents?
I have no idea. He is a minor.
We've established we don't know how old he is, but he's not old enough to go to school.
Now to be fair, there is one thing about this that I find. Now you said we both feel after seeing Part 1 a million times that he turned 16 in that scene. That he was like establishing that he was turning 16. But I Googled Daniel Larusso's birth date today before I came over, which said December 1966, which would mean he was turning 18 at that birthday party, which I don't remember happening because
that's got to be retconned, right? Like,
and how was he able to compete in the All Valley under 18 if he turned 18?
That's bullshit. Yeah, he's 16 in that first movie.
Okay,
It's canon.
Yes,
it has to be.
Yes.
Someone just made up this birth year for some reason.
I know.
To make like some side story work. I don't know.
Probably so, yeah.
But now they're business owners, and he surprises Miyagi with the lease.
Yes.
And he does it at dinner, and he breaks it to him like, well, he asked him how college was, and he's like, well, I didn't go. and he kind of breaks it to him like, I got this, and hey, I don't need college, Look, I can see into the future, 30 years from now. If I had student loans, I'd be fucked. So, no, we're opening a bonsai store.
Exactly, that's true.
So, Miyagi says, cool, good idea.
Right.
He doesn't say that, but he's like, okay. And they go and see it, and Daniel's super excited about it. He's like over the moon.
Very enthusiastic.
About this.
Yeah.
And like he has just given this man who he respects and loves like no other his dream.
Right.
And Miyagi says there's one problem. It's that Daniel's name is not also on the lease, and he calls him his partner.
Right.
And it makes me so happy.
I know.
Because I love those two together.
And for about 2 minutes, he's just like going on about like what they're going to do. And he seems like he has a vision for it. And he's really enthusiastic. And not only just for a business, but he wants to do this for this man who is not only his friend, but like who has become his life.
Right.
And he is so devoted to Mr. Miyagi. He would never tell him he loves him because Mr. Miyagi's not somebody you tell them. I don't think he kind of communicates that way.
I don't think they say they love each other at any point in the films.
No, it never happens.
It's just obvious.
Right.
But, yeah.
But like this is his way of expressing it. And he wants so bad for Mr. Miyagi to say, yes, let's do this. Yeah. And when he does, like, it's just like, you can see Daniel's just like, oh my God, this is actually happening. We're going to have this thing together. And,
right.
This is our life now.
It's awesome. It's funny. You said he's so devoted to Miyagi. It's almost like he's Terry Silver and Miyagi is Kreese. He's just going to do everything for him,
Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah. I mean,
I'm going to spend all of my hundreds of dollars on this lease for you.
Oh my God, that's right.
All the power of Daniel Talks Industry.
That's true. You're right.
It's help you.
That's exactly right. That's right. This crappy little bonsai store is a tribute.
I do wish we could have seen the store like flourish, not like flourish business wise, but like we see it develop more and like there's actual plants in a storefront and customers. That would have been really cool to see.
Yes,
I mean it's not essential for this story,
right?
So
and the movie, like if kind of there was a coda where it's just like Daniel's working the till and like somebody comes in and
you can't
buys
have
bonsais.
A coda in a John G. Avildsen movie. Come on,
I guess not.
It's got a freeze frame on the same thing from all the prior movies.
That's true. That's true. Oh my God,
Lord.
Yes. But yeah, now they've established that this is happening, and Miyagi sends him across the street to meet Robin Lively, and that's where we got the whole thing that we
Jessica is the character,
right? And when they make their date, Daniel says to Jessica, let me show you our shop, like come across the street and I'll show you what we got going. And this is when there's the first encounter with Snake and Mike Barnes.
Yeah.
Daniel
knows nothing about these guys.
Right. It's his first introduction to them.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even know, apparently, like that the All Valley is still happening.
Well, he does because he wanted to do it. Miyagi told him, hey, don't do it.
Did that come before?
It came before.
That's
and
right.
Daniel has already decided. Well, no, he hasn't decided he's not going to do it, right?
Right. He hasn't decided. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, wait. No, he did because, it was before the dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually says, you know what? I thought about it. It was before the date. When he borrowed that stupid Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, he burns it. He says, hey, Miyagi, you're right. I want our karate to mean something.
Yes.
And he burns it. And then Terry Silver is hiding in the chimney.
Terry Silver. Holy crap. Yes.
Anyway, because he was snooping so that he had some meat on that he could use, that he could just eat and use against them.
This is this is the boldest cat burglar stuff I've seen in a long time because he knows Daniel and Miyagi, he knows at least he's seen Daniel in the house. And he's still in the study, snooping through all of Miyagi's stuff.
Yeah.
Daniel is in the other room and he's going through he's rifling these drawers.
Yeah.
And then he sees Miyagi coming, so he knows the only place he can hide is in the chimney. And he didn't expect a burned contract underneath his feet.
Oh, well.
Yes.
I don't know. So, because Silver saw the contract being burned, he's like, all right, all you guys I'm paying to be here, go and make them sign it.
Yeah. I mean, okay. The movie establishes, obviously, that Mike is a known commodity in the martial arts world.
Yes.
Right?
Bad boy.
Yes. There's a magazine feature
Tournament
dedicated
Terror.
to his tournament
Mike Barnes.
exploits. Yes. Yeah. Tournament Terror Mike Barnes. So we're to understand that his services are for sale. I mean, is that what this is?
I think it takes a shit bag to know a shit bag.
I guess so, yeah.
So Silver sees that and is like, oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if Terry Silver hadn't hired him and made this deal, would Mike be offering his services to another outlet?
I don't know. I doubt it.
I mean, so there's not like other billionaire supervillains out there who need a teenage karate champion
they
for
probably
something?
do, but I mean, there can't be many instances simultaneously.
I guess,
happening,
that's
maybe
true.
one or two.
There's not
at
a
time.
bidding war.
One or two karate toxic waste overlaps once in a while.
So exactly.
It's not super common.
No, and I guess for a revenge plot where karate is required, I guess, that would be pretty rare.
I mean, a lot of revenge plots need karate, though.
They could use some, for sure.
It would make them better.
Exactly. I'd be definitely down for them, but yeah. Where are his parents?
Mike Barnes?
Yeah.
He probably killed him. This guy's insane. He probably dropped him off a cliff.
I expected there to be some debate about this, but no, you're right. He definitely killed his parents in something horrific. Yes.
His parents are probably...
This little psycho?
Yeah, I have no clue. I haven't even thought about his parents once in my entire life.
Wow.
He probably just grew up on the street. Yeah.
Wow.
I have no idea. Did you have any other theories on his
No,
parents?
I didn't. I thought we were going to talk about it, but I thought, maybe, I guess if he's part of the Cobra Kai universe from the Netflix show, then they might get into it maybe at some point.
Yeah,
maybe it's some kind of really sad story. He is
maybe
orphaned
he's an
in some
orphan,
way.
Yeah.
And his only outlet is now this. And okay. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. But they show up, Snake and Mike show up, and they're like, hey, Daniel, how you doing, buddy? And he's like, who the fuck are these guys?
Yes.
Hey, we're closed. Get out of here.
Right.
And then they start pushing him around, saying, hey, you got to sign this paper. And he's like, no, I'm not doing it.
Right.
And they take off, and then they come back the next night and do it all again.
Right.
And this is where we get the first assault on Jessica.
Oh, my God.
Daniel fights... Does he fight Snake? No, he doesn't fight Snake. He fights Dennis.
Right.
Dennis starts to fight him, and Daniel takes him out pretty easily.
Yes.
And then Jessica throws the mac and cheese into Snake's stomach.
Yes.
And he flies back against the wall, because I guess that was some powerful mac and cheese.
It's a big cauldron she's got, so yeah.
It's like Kevin's chili from The Office. And so then... She does the mac and cheese attack. And Mike Barnes looks at the mac and cheese, then looks at her, and then does like a sidekick to her gut.
It's outrageous.
Dude.
This level of violence against a girl. I mean, like, against a woman. You know, and it's just, my God, the fucking 80s. I can't believe we were just doing this all the time. I mean, like, it is a really, it's disturbing shit. Because he kicks her with full force.
Yeah.
Like, imagine, it's bad. It's bad, everybody.
Yeah.
And it's just part of the motif back then.
And Daniel's like, hey, cut it out.
Right.
And hey, that's my girlfriend. Wait, never mind.
Oh, that's
right. My friend.
Exactly. I know. That's my platonic friend. How dare you? And I mean, you know, and then like Mike attacks him and Daniel looks like he can't get anything on this guy. Like he hits him and Mike Barnes says, don't do that.
Yeah.
Gives him a full,
he hits
closed
him twice.
fist.
Don't
Yes.
do that. And
Don't
then he
do that.
pushes him through a wall almost.
And he can apparently lift Daniel.
Yeah.
Like he's that strong.
Yeah.
It's really established very well. Like when Daniel attacks, like he tries to fight back against Mike, like Mike Barnes, he's criticizing Daniel's karate as he's fighting him.
Yeah.
Hey, nice kick. Ooh, not a little bit better. Sure. Oh, that's great. And then
and then he just assaults him.
I mean, like his attack is full on. Like, I mean, I don't know how they faked it.
He is all offense.
Yeah,
This guy.
yeah.
He moves quickly.
He's really
precisely.
aggressive. Yes.
Yeah. And of course he's got the upper hand on Daniel now. But Miyagi shows up and kicks some ass.
Right. A little bit.
A little bit.
Yes.
You know, he's able to get everyone to leave.
Right.
You know, we know Miyagi can take out some teens. He's
Oh yeah,
good
of
at
course,
it.
exactly.
So yeah, now they leave and Miyagi's joking about the whole scene now, like, which is very out of character and weird.
I know.
He jokes around and is silly, you know, but these guys just assaulted Jessica and Daniel in your store,
Right.
And you're saying you're going to go fishing and you're singing songs.
Because when we cut to Daniel and Miyagi in the truck, and we're just, we have never seen Mr. Miyagi be this much of a goof when he was sober.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But he is singing a song, and like he knows that he's annoying Daniel, and he's kind of doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
And the only thing I like about this scene is Ralph Macchio, his reactions, his facial reactions. He's like just got this expression on that's just like he keeps looking at Miyagi and giving a side eye, and he looks forward, and he's really funny in the scene. He doesn't say anything until he finally goes, "Oh, what the hell? What is going on here?" And then he's just like, Miyagi can't be fazed. He just keeps singing this song.
Yeah. I feel like this is very out of character and it's inappropriate. It's an inappropriate response.
Right.
Because if he's doing this, there has to be a lesson learned the next minute.
Agreed.
Like he's got to say, haha, I tricked you. I actually taught you more karate. Like
I mean,
that's what he has to do.
Well, that's what we're expecting the first time we see it. That there is some kind of thing in here where in the end, Daniel's going to have something. He's going to be able to take something from this.
Right. But it's not. It's just like, I don't give a fuck. I'm going fishing.
I know.
Good luck with the police, dick.
It's
like that's what's happening here.
I know, and you're right about it being out of character. And look, Robert Mark Kamen, you invented these characters, and far be it from me to criticize, your like giving birth to these. But I mean, my God, this is like I don't know what this is.
I don't know.
And when they finally do get home, like the bonsais have all been stolen.
Yeah.
Like Mike, Snake, and Dennis worked pretty quickly. They figured out where Miyagi lived. They raided the house. They stole all the stuff, and then they have like almost like they left.
It's a copy of the application. It's hanging there.
That is a massive LOL. Really, the idea that you would like put a teenage karate contract. It's like this.
It's so stupid.
I mean, they're asking for like a blood oath, and it's the All Valley.
Yeah.
I mean. But like everybody's future hinges on this, and like that's Mike Barnes' argument is that like because he, Daniel tells him during the encounter like, look, if you want the title, go ahead, enter the tournament and get it. He goes, oh no, you don't understand. I need your title.
Yeah.
I have to beat you.
Yeah,
that's why he's like pushing so hard for Daniel to sign up.
Yeah, yep.
And by the way, there's a really bullshit stipulation this year at the All Valley.
Oh my God.
Whew.
Yes.
You know,
Please enlighten us, Dave.
Exactly.
Of the rules update.
I mean, my God. Okay. The whole stipulation, obviously, it's pretty outrageous. Is that like the previous year's winner gets to enter the tournament and doesn't have to fight in the tournament. He just advances to the championship match.
Right. So he can win one match and be the champion again.
It makes no sense. I have no idea why they would do this because like the whole point of the All Valley in the first movie was like it was the centerpiece of the film.
Yeah.
You know, it takes like the last half hour of the movie. It's a whole montage. And then there's even like just, you know, individual matches that we see the full on.
Yeah.
And it was a big part of the whole experience was the tournament.
Right.
You know,
in this movie, it's a little side note. If it feels like a side note, but it's the climax.
I know. Exactly. The climax is an afterthought.
It feels like I don't even want to watch it. Like, I'm like, this is stupid.
Yes. I know.
Well, we can talk more about it when we get to the end of the film, but
course,
like,
yeah.
dude.
And it just like when they introduce it into the plot, I remember even the first time I saw it when I was a little kid, I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Like, how would this ever fly?
You know what? Ralph Macchio's wife probably doesn't like karate either.
I mean,
so she's like, hey,
honestly,
you better not be fighting in this movie.
It's got to be something to do with Ralph Macchio that he didn't want to like keep fighting or whatever. Or,
yeah.
I mean, or I can't imagine that the filmmakers would have said like, okay, the whole reason we're here is for like Daniel to, you know, like, I guess, you know, obviously again, overcome, you know, somebody in his life who's threatening him.
Right.
You know, and what better way to do that than to have it be, you know, if we're going to do a repeat of the first movie, then let's do a repeat of the first movie.
Exactly.
You know, and I mean, there's no, I guess there's no cobras to overcome. But like, you know,
right.
Maybe they thought it was like not credible that he would win again. I don't know.
I don't know.
Who
It
knows?
is stupid. They wrote themselves into a fucking corner.
They did.
And
exactly.
they could not get out of this.
Right. It really sucks.
Yeah, it's bull.
Yes.
So now that all the bonsai trees are missing, they have no money, they have no stock, they have no inventory.
Right.
So Daniel has the idea, we're going to go to the cliff where Miyagi planted an authentic Japanese bonsai.
Yes.
And planted it where no one could get it. And it's worth $10,000, so we're going to go get it, and then we can, you know, proceed with our business.
Right.
And of course, this goes to shit too, because all his plans are horrible. He's rappelling down the rocks with Jessica, because she's a rock climber.
Right.
Which it was established in the photo with the boyfriend.
That's true.
They were rappelling down a wall.
Yeah.
So they're going down the cliff to get this bonsai tree, and they finally get it out. But wouldn't you know it, they drop it. And they have to go all the way to the bottom and get the tree. And then as they're getting the tree, the ropes start to go up the cliffside. Snake and Mike and Dennis are all at the top. It's like something out of the Goonies here.
I know.
It looks like the Goonies.
It does.
You know?
I know.
With the rocky ocean side and stuff.
It looks like the place that Brand almost lost his life.
Yeah, right. And they're like, hey, sign the contract and we'll let you come up. And they throw a rock with the contract like rubber banded to it down to him. Like, and Daniel's great in this though. He's like really mad and animated.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? You want me to sign the contract? I'll sign the contract. Okay, there, I signed the contract. I signed it. Now throw the rope down. I signed it. It's a little much.
I know.
And he's like jumping around as he's yelling this.
And he's very viciously hard signing the contract.
I haven't looked, but does Jessica look at him like, what's wrong with this guy?
Yes.
She is?
She's looking at him. She's kind of staring at him the whole time. Like she has this expression like, I can't believe this is happening. You know, like she can't really believe it.
Fucking karate tournament.
I know. I forgot until this viewing that she tries to talk him out of this bonsai caper.
Yeah, she does. You know, yeah, that's right.
I mean, like it's an invaluable part of like that characterization.
Yeah, she's like, well, what if he doesn't want you to get it? And he's like, well, yeah, he wants me to. It's his dream. Shut up, Daniel.
I know you. I mean, of all the look, we're all pissed off at Daniel Larusso like 24/7 usually, but like, I mean, I don't mind him wanting to defend his title and like kind of being mad at Miyagi for not training him, you know, because that's the whole thing is Miyagi doesn't really approve of him defending the title.
Right.
But like this thing here where he I'll commend the movie for one thing, and it's that they escalate the outrage of Daniel's terrible decision making.
Yes.
Because this thing with him uprooting this bonsai tree is contemptible.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, God, it is such an outrage that he does this, because Miyagi earlier had shown him where he put it.
Yeah.
And he told him the whole story about how like they didn't even have when he planted it there, he didn't have like landscape or like rock climbing equipment.
Yeah.
He just free soloed up this cauldron, and like found a place for this bonsai tree that he brought with him from Japan.
Yeah.
And like, and it's really cool. It's like just the perfect bonsai tree that you're picturing in your head.
It is.
It looks like the back of Daniel's gi. It's the exact same tree.
One.
Right.
Yeah. And he even comments on it. He's like, it looks like the one on my gi.
Right.
Which is great. I like that little
it's
touch.
Cool,
it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how Miyagi got up there. Is Miyagi from the cartoon series? He had magic powers.
That's true.
He could fly and like front flip and stuff.
That's right.
So yeah,
that cartoon was pretty amazing. Daniel and Kumiko had magic powers too.
Oh man, and they just magically write Kumiko out of this movie.
Yeah, that's right. She got an offer from
you know what? She was like, I'm not going to America with this guy.
Absolutely,
this guy's
not.
crazy.
Exactly.
All I wanted was a nice couple weeks of fun with him. I mean, I'm spending my life with this guy.
And yeah, many women have done that with Daniel Larusso.
Right, yeah, he's disposable.
Exactly, yes.
He's charming at first and then annoying. That's what happens. It's obvious.
Speaking of annoying, the most annoying thing Daniel does in this movie, we'll get back to the ravine in a minute, but
this must be really bad.
I hate it so much. It's when he's in the house, like getting ready to go on the date with Jessica, and he's like singing luau music when he's got that Hawaiian shirt.
Oh yeah.
I'm just like, if Ralph Macchio had power to like change the production of this film and rewrite plots in it, that means he had absolute say in anything. Yeah. So anything that's on screen was kind of given the go-ahead by him, and that's left in. Like, one of his lowest moments as an actor is him, la, la, la. Like, he does it for a good 30 seconds. He's singing like...
That's when Terry Silver sneaks in, right?
Yes,
yeah.
Yes. It's not good, and it's even shot in silhouette, like against this, shade screen kind of thing, and you see him like kind of swaying back and forth, and like he thinks he's really cute here, and he's not. And I just needed to put that in there.
It doesn't bother me at all.
Okay.
It never bothered me.
Okay.
But now that you've said it, I'm going to just notice it every single time I watch this movie, which probably won't be many more times, honestly.
Yes. Right.
But it's going to eat me alive, I guarantee you.
It will come up for you.
Yeah, and then, so when they get pulled back up by the goons here, they're at the top, and they're right before they pull them up over the cliff, they're still dangling. They're like, give us the tree. And they hand him the tree, and they snap it in half, like a wishbone. He even says, Daniel, make a wish. Mike Barnes cracks this tree, which is probably 100 years old.
Yeah.
And this moment actually is kind of devastating.
Oh, yeah.
It's presented as... It's a super heavy thing that just happened.
Right.
More important than anything else that's been shown in this film. And the reaction from Daniel is so authentic and heartbroken and fearful about what just happened.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he knows, all right, I'm dead meat now. Miyagi's going to kill me. Friendship's over.
Yep.
That's it. Might as well drop me in this cliff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. He reacts appropriately to it, and like we the audience do too. I mean, I'm sure that like anyone watching it for the first time, when Mike Barnes snaps the trunk of that tree in two and just goes, "Hey, make a wish." I mean, like it is a real gut punch,
because they'd already gotten what they wanted, right?
Yeah.
This is just, hey, I'm gonna bully you just for fun.
It's
now.
cruelty for cruelty's sake.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And like this is my favorite scene in the movie, when the tree breaks and then he brings it to Miyagi, like basically crying and apologizing, like, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, and Miyagi's trying to fix it and stuff. Like, it's only like a minute or two of the movie, and it's my favorite thing in the movie is about a tree that got snapped.
I know. Well, it's the most powerful.
It is,
and it's got such like symbolism, and you
Well,
know,
yeah.
like it kind of is almost self-contained too. It's almost like a little short film.
It
in
is.
The middle
You could
of this.
watch it on its own and be
Yeah.
like, feel that impact,
It's
because
a great
everybody
scene.
understands what bullying is like.
Yeah.
and the acting is excellent in this scene.
Right. And for Mike Barnes and Snake and Dennis to do what they did, and to have no feeling.
Yeah.
You know, like obviously, even if they don't know what this tree means to Miyagi, like they obviously know that like they were down there doing something, you know, they were down there for some reason.
They were down there to get this tree or something,
Exactly.
so they know it's important to
Right.
them. And yeah, and you mentioned the symbolism with it. Like throughout the whole movie, they're talking about if your roots are strong,
Yes.
you know, you'll be able to grow and survive. And
Right.
Miyagi keeps telling Daniel that he's got good roots and stuff. So, of course, that's what the tree symbolizes.
Yes.
And Miyagi is able to kind of repair the tree a little, but you don't know if it's going to make it.
Right.
Ultimately, it does at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the turning point where Daniel comes back and is like, okay, yeah, I was an ass, and now we got to do things the right way.
Yeah. And it's also too like it's really great that Miyagi has the reaction that he does without getting angry. Like this is
Yeah.
as angry as like Miyagi can get at
Yeah.
Daniel, which is like essentially just like kind of telling him, okay, bring me that water, okay, bring me that dirt, you know, like
Yeah,
give me
bring
that,
me
give me
this.
the tape, you know, just let me work, you know, like because anybody else would have been like screaming at Daniel's face, and rightly
Right.
so, because
Yeah.
he really screwed up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and he tells him like I had to sign it. They made me do it.
Right.
You know, and Miyagi still is like, okay, fuck you.
Yeah.
Why, Miyagi? What? This is not appropriate. Come on.
So with the whole thing with Miyagi not wanting to train Daniel for the tournament, you feel that he's in the wrong here.
I feel like he is once this has happened,
Yeah.
that's the tipping point. I
Right.
feel beforehand it's fine.
Yeah.
But now that these guys have gone to this length and they're making him do this and they destroyed the tree, they threatened to rape Jessica.
Yeah.
You know. This is where you got to say, "All right. Remember the first movie? We'll start training."
Yes.
Yeah.
This is where I start helping you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And I would be okay with him at this moment still being not wanting to train him if it weren't for what happens next is another out of character Miyagi moment in which Terry Silver tells Daniel about front sweeps.
Yeah.
And he says, ask your teacher, Mr. Miyagi, about teaching you how to sweep.
Okay.
So he goes and he asks Mr. Miyagi, do you know how to sweep? Can you teach me just this one thing? That's all I ask. And
Yeah.
Miyagi is, of course. He gets out a broom and tells him, okay, now go back and forth like this. And just
sweep,
like, yep,
you
you sweep. And like Daniel has this hilarious reaction that I know you're reacting to, which is like, okay, fine. You make fun of me? Okay, whatever. Just a minute. I mean, he really throws this big fit.
I'll never ask for anything.
I'll never ask for anything again. Okay, fine. He really turns. This is when he becomes a sweat hog. You know,
Yes.
it's pretty great.
I think he's out of line.
Exactly.
And Jessica's standing there too, and she thinks it's funny.
Yeah.
And then once he blows his stack, she's once again like,
know.
"Wow, I dodged the bullet."
Right. Exactly. Yes.
Good thing I lied about that guy.
There's red flags all over this kid. But
Right.
yeah, there's. I think too that like, but I don't like Miyagi doing this kind of sarcastic trick.
I like it.
You do?
I love it.
See, I don't think
Because
he would
he's done
do
that
this.
before. He's done that in other movies, like his joke about the belt in the first movie. What kind of
Okay,
belt you have?
okay,
Oh,
yeah.
Canvas, J.C. Penney.
That's true. JCPenney 398.
Yeah.
You're right.
Right.
Okay. That you're right. That's true.
So there's precedence, Your Honor. You know,
yes.
but I get
Sustained,
it. I
yeah.
get it. Like the movie is jumping all over the place
Yeah.
with tone.
Right.
Like it was emergency rescue 911 on the bonsai tree. Then all of a sudden, I'll teach you to sweep. It's all over.
Right. And at this point, like, it's weird. Like, Terry Silver, in addition to his other stuff, and
Yeah.
he was obviously in there. He was gathering evidence so that he could like infiltrate Miyagi and Daniel's life.
Yeah.
He's going to pretend to be this guy from. He's been sent from this school in Korea.
Yeah.
to like make amends with Miyagi and Daniel for John Kreese's behavior. Him and Kreese were trained at this dojo in Korea. Then they were in Vietnam together.
Yeah.
And Terry Silver pretends that John Kreese is dead.
Yeah.
He, and now he's here to like...
like rebuild the brand and like
exactly.
change the reputation.
Yes.
Hey, this isn't what we were like.
Yes.
This is the true values of Cobra Kai.
Yes.
He's weeding his way into their lives as a good guy,
right,
to help them,
right.
a friend. He feeds them all these like half truths,
Yes, right.
Yeah, and he gets on their good side, and he ultimately gets. He's the one who's been driving a wedge between these guys, right?
Right.
So now Miyagi won't train him, and Terry Silver has set himself up to be someone who will train Daniel.
Yes,
and Daniel takes it. He's like, "Hey, Al, yeah, will you train me?"
Daniel does the unthinkable thing. He walks into the Cobra Kai dojo and puts on a Cobra Kai gi and is being trained by Terry Silver.
They recreate the scene from the first movie where he first walks into the dojo.
They do.
Shot for shot.
Yeah.
Which we also just saw at the beginning of this movie, shot for shot.
That's right. Wow.
Which I thought was a cool idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's training him in a Cobra Kai gi. And he teaches him the Quicksilver training method.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a training method that he developed to get quick results. I call it Quicksilver.
You like that,
Daniel
don't
goes,
you, Mr. Larusso?
He goes, "Oh, I like that."
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yes.
And the three things are: if a man can't stand, he can't fight; if a man can't breathe, he can't fight; and if a man can't see, he can't fight.
Right.
So over the course of a few days, he teaches them these lessons.
And there's like when the training first starts, like you see Ralph Macchio like kind of, he looks pretty okay. He looks like he's still got some moves, like when they're just kind of sparring.
Yeah, they're sparring. He's like, "Wow, you're better than I thought."
Right. And
which I think was true. Like,
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
he's really saying, "Wow, you're better than I thought you
Yes.
were, you little shit."
Right, exactly. He thought that this guy was nothing.
Yeah, right.
And instead of like hitting the heavy bag like you would, like Terry Silver has set up this like thing made of like
It's like pipes and 2x4s.
yes, exactly. And the whole point is that like he's telling Daniel that he has to like fight against this thing. He has to like hurt himself while training, and it's pretty ugly.
Because earlier in the film, Kreese told him to make him bleed. Because Kreese, made his knuckles bleed in the beginning of the movie. Miyagi tricked him into punching a glass window, so John Kreese's knuckles are bleeding. So he tells Silver, make his knuckles bleed.
Yeah.
So that's what ultimately happens. He has him kicking these like wooden legs and like elbowing this like wooden chest and punching this wooden head, which has Mike Barnes' face on it. It's the magazine cover or whatever, where he's like, "Ah!" ready to kill someone.
He's making a mean face.
Yeah, he looks mean.
Right.
So yeah, his knuckles bleed from punching this wooden face.
I remember thinking about like what I would have done in that scenario. Like, could I thought about times where I've accidentally, made contact with a 2x4, like punched it or kicked it somehow, or just,
yes.
It hurts. It hurts really bad.
It does.
And when you see Daniel trying to sweep these like wooden legs, man, you're just kind of like, ooh, every time he kicks it, you're like, ooh, God,
that impact.
Yes. And he goes home and like his foot is all like, bruised and everything.
Oh yeah, it's nasty looking.
And like Miyagi doesn't know exactly what's happening, but he does kind of know. So he's trying to help him out.
Yeah.
But like in the end, he just can't train him. And that's why Daniel just kind of casts him out every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is where you get the moment where Miyagi cries. Like during this whole sequence, he won't let him help.
Right.
And he's crying. That's where he says Miyagi's heart is empty without you. You know, he's
Yes.
talking to himself.
Right.
And he does it in that great Pat Morita voice. Like, oh man, it's
I know.
so good.
He's excellent. I mean, and there's a couple of really emotional moments for Miyagi in all three of these movies. This is the one in part 3. The one in part 2 is after his father dies.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there looking at out in the harbor.
And Daniel sits there next to him.
Great scene.
Oh my gosh.
Really powerful stuff.
Yep. And then the first movie, of course, is Oscar scene.
Yes.
When he's getting drunk,
Yes.
and remembering his past.
Yep.
But yeah, this one's also good. Not as good as those, I don't think.
Of course.
But it's still good. And it's because his relationship with Daniel is crumbling.
Yeah.
The other movies had nothing to do with this. This is the core is their relationship.
Right. And I'll give the movie credit for that part of it, is that like it really does like kind of take advantage of you, the viewer, knowing that relationship.
Yeah.
And not manipulating you, but like, the reason you are invested is because you know these people.
Yeah, right. And so Daniel is training, and he ultimately does break these boards because when he has the blood on his knuckles, Terry Silver's like, it's blood, so what? Pretend it's his. Yeah. And he gets Daniel all riled up and pissed. And then, the music swells, and then he's like, yeah, and he breaks all the boards.
I'm going to nail him.
And then he's like, yeah, he says, I'm going to nail him. And then crack, breaks all the boards, right? And then he's like, we did it, yay! And they all like jump up and down.
It's a double high five.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And I mean, like, it's kind of an electric moment when Daniel does overcome the boards and like
it is.
He smashes everything and like Terry Silver's like, yeah,
Yeah.
And I mean, like,
it's triumphant.
Yes, it is.
But it's silly when they do the double high five.
It is.
Like awkward double high five.
It is awkward, I know, because then they kind of clutch each other and go back and forth.
Anakin just won the pod race and they don't know how to high five each other and shit.
God.
That's what this is.
I've been party to many awkward high fives, and that's why they're not part of my life anymore.
Yes.
Now I fist bump people, or I just like steer clear of high fives entirely.
Just kind of like lean over. How you doing?
Yes.
One of those?
Exactly. Or maybe I'll shake someone's hand when I'm introduced to them, but that's as far as it goes.
You don't double high five.
There are no
anymore.
excited high fives in my life anymore. That part is over.
Yeah. There's so much risk there. You could whiff. You can hit like the palm in a weird way.
And it always...
Fingertip. I mean...
Have you ever like sort of had it happen in front of you and like you have to pretend that you didn't see it?
Oh God, that's the worst.
Oof.
It wasn't even your high five.
Exactly, but you're still like feeling the aura of awkwardness from it.
Right, yeah, it affected everybody.
Oh my God, it sucks so
There's
bad.
more people at risk here than just you. So everybody, stop high-fiving.
It's a public service. Exactly, yes.
Oh my God. So, and now we get a dance scene. There's a dance club, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
let's talk about the dance scene.
club.
Yes. I love when they go to this club and Ralph Macchio just gets right into his Bruce Springsteen dance.
Ooh.
Yes. He looks like,
he looks like Courtney Cox.
I mean, exactly. It's so amazing. I mean, like, he and Jessica aren't as dynamic a pairing as him and Kumiko, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah. And Terry Silver is in the club hiding behind a pillar because I guess he knows to be there. And his plan is to find a random person who's assaulting a lady and pay him money to go assault Jessica and Daniel. And then that's what happens.
Because the whole point is that he's supposed to like lose his cool in front of Jessica, I guess.
Yeah.
And haul off and slug this guy.
Right.
So he hires this dude to like, start harassing Jessica. And and Daniel's like, hey, she's with me. And the guy won't take no for an answer. So Daniel breaks the guy's nose.
Immediately punches him in the face with his new technique he learned.
Yes.
And Terry Silver runs up and he's like, we got to get out of here. And then grabs Daniel. And he's like, well, no, shouldn't we help him? What about Jessica? He's like, we got to go.
Right.
And he gets Daniel to run off with him. And what he wanted to do was make Daniel do the wrong thing. And he succeeded. And he's out there and he's like, that was awesome, man. Daniel, you have the killer instinct.
Yes.
Like he's just trying to make him feel like a bad guy.
Right. Right.
Because he's not that, but he's molding him into one.
And I mean, this is where we really start to see kind of the extent of Terry Silver's, plans. I mean, he is going so far with this scheme.
Yeah.
To the point where it's outside the dojo now.
Yeah.
He's now in public, like staging events to where Daniel will commit violence.
We didn't even mention the part where he fights off Mike Barnes at Miyagi's house.
I know, right. He staged one of those.
He is setting up this whole thing.
Exactly.
I mean, he's a billionaire toxic waste mogul, right? And he set aside business for 6 months just to do this.
That's true.
I mean, he's, when he wants to do something, he's going to do it.
That's true. Yeah.
That's why he is a billionaire toxic waste mogul.
Yeah, he's a focused man.
Because you have to have drive to do that.
Right? Yes.
You can't just be an idiot with no motivation.
That's true. You got to be committed.
And you know what I love? When he's there and he pays this guy to like assault them or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the guy is assaulting this other woman and he's like, he stops him. He's like, hey, stop or whatever. And then like the guy like looks like he's about to fight Terry Silver, but because he's like 2.5 feet taller than him, he like leans down and whispers in his ear. And this other guy is like, oh, am I getting cruised right now? All right. Like the look on his face is like, hey, yeah, let's make this work.
I kind of picked up a
looks like
little
he's
bit on that
cruising
too.
him.
Exactly. He looks like he's a little intrigued by, this tall drink of water.
Well, this lady was sexy, but look at this guy.
exactly.
You know?
Yes.
That's not where it goes.
Of
Later,
course.
you hear him yelling, hey, where's that guy with my money?
Yeah, I know. Right?
So he didn't even pay the guy.
He didn't and I guess it wasn't a pay up front kind of thing.
Yeah, pay for performance.
Right.
Yeah.
And man, it's like the cops or the security people start making fun of the guy.
Yeah,
like
right.
they pull him. Okay, what's going on? What happened? The guy broke my nose. Yeah, he sure did.
And then they throw him out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And like Daniel is trying to. He manages to shake Terry Silver, and then he goes home, and he's on the phone with the hospital trying to like locate the guy so that he can apologize to him, which is an unlikely thing to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's commendable, I guess, but I mean, would you really go this far to like? I mean, obviously, the guy was kind of a scumbag.
Yeah, right.
And he got his nose broken in a club. I mean, I'm not saying anybody has a broken nose coming, but sometimes they do.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
You don't need to call this guy, Daniel. But he does go and he goes to Jessica's apartment and apologize.
Right.
And says, hey, maybe I shouldn't have done that. I lost my cool. And I've lost everything, actually.
Yeah.
I've lost you. I've lost Miyagi. I've lost myself.
Whew.
And she's like, yeah. You did. Yes. By the way, Daniel, I was never yours.
I know, exactly.
Remember, I'm going back to Ohio right now.
Oh my God, you're being so possessive of me, and we established early in the film that we were just friends.
Ralph, you wanted the change.
Yes.
Cut it back a bit.
Exactly. Now Robin Lively has to act as if, in this scene that has like a lot of not very much weight to it because they're not a couple.
And she has to kiss him on the cheek.
Right.
Still, come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, is he going to kiss her? No, don't do it.
Right.
It doesn't happen.
Right.
But yeah. He leaves and is like, hey, yeah, thanks for the pep talk or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he goes back to Miyagi and is like, hey, I feel like everything's falling apart. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm the tree that's broken. I'll just say the metaphor in the script out loud. And Miyagi says, come here. And he shows him that the tree is healing and says it's strong roots, just like you. I wrote it on page 87. See? Symbolism. And now he's like, I have to go tell Terry Silver I'm done training him. So this is all within an hour.
Yeah.
Like, he's been at the nightclub, assaulted a man, blood everywhere.
Right.
Terry Silver was there in his nicest suit. And not a suit, but he was dressed up.
He actually bought like kind of like scumbag clothes.
Yeah, scumbag nightclub gear.
Right. He's got like really tight jeans and a gray members only coat.
Yep. He still looks great.
He does. He looks fantastic.
And then Daniel runs to Robin Lively's apartment. Then he runs to Miyagi's house.
Yeah.
And then he runs back to Cobra Kai Dojo. And Terry Silver's there after a night of clubbing in his gi.
What is going on?
Doesn't he have an apartment?
He
It's got to be 2:38 in the morning.
He went back to the dojo and dressed out to work to do some sparring, I guess. I mean, like,
right.
It's nuts. Like that Daniel goes there in the dead of night and Terry Silver is in his gi.
Larusso still has his shirt with blood splattered on it.
Right. And it's important too to note that like the whole thing, like Miyagi's like, well, do you want me to come with you? And he's like, no, listen, I got to go do this. I'm going to tell Terry Silver it's all over, but I got to do it on my own. I got to make this right. He's like, okay. And you can tell Miyagi doesn't.
Miyagi has this look like, no, I'm coming.
Exactly.
You just won't know about it.
Yes. So he's there to he's telling Terry Silver, look, it's over. And he's like, well, listen, you owe me a lot more than that. Owe me a lot more than an explanation, Daniel. And Daniel's like, okay, what's that mean? And He says, well, you can't make me do something I don't want to do, because Terry Silver's like, you're going to get in that ring, you're going to fight in the tournament. Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, I've been making you do things you didn't want to do for a long time.
Yeah.
Isn't that right? And out comes Mike Barnes from the back.
Yep. And he's in a gi.
Yes. Earlier when you brought this up, I said dressed out, and I realized I haven't said dressed out since 1992. I mean, that's what we called it in PE.
Since you had that ponytail, probably.
Exactly. Right. In PE class, when you wore your uniform, you dressed out.
Yeah.
And so
right.
These guys dressed out at, like you said, 2:38 in the morning, and they're just having a karate sesh, in the middle of the night.
I guess, but the way it's presented is they were waiting here for Daniel.
Yes. I mean, like, on the off chance that he'd show up this night.
Yeah. And Daniel's like, no, screw this. I'm leaving. And he starts to leave, and there's a big cardboard cutout of John Kreese at the front of the dojo. And as Daniel's walking by it, the actual John Kreese jumps out from behind it and goes, rah! Rah!
I forgot all about the rar, but he says rar twice, just like what Scott just did.
Yes.
He said rar.
It's a roar. It's not even like a yell.
No, he even does like the full pantomime of the claws with his hands.
Maybe he picked something up in Tahiti, Yes, that's right. Probably picked something up, some kind of disease at the place he was at.
No doubt.
You know what he was doing there. Right. Nothing but the finest from Terry Silver.
Terry Silver sent him on some sex tourism.
Yes,
is what
yes,
happened.
Yes. So now Daniel is surrounded by these 3 Cobra Kai. Is Mike Barnes a Cobra Kai now?
Yeah, I think he's a full-fledged Cobra.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, he's got to wear the colors if he's going to be an owner, right?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, so... and he starts getting his ass kicked by Mike Barnes again, right?
Yeah.
Because it's Daniel and he sucks now. He's always sucked.
I know. He can never get like offense in until the final fight.
Right.
Against his enemies, he's always just like he's just like fodder. I mean, Mark Barnes puts him in a blender right away.
Yes, he does.
And I mean, like, nothing Daniel does. Mike Barnes says it himself, like, there's nothing you got that I can't counter. Your karate's a joke. And you're like, Mike is kind of right.
Yeah.
As far as, like, Daniel is concerned.
Yeah. So he gets thrown out the front door, and then Miyagi comes in, right?
Well, because Kreese, like, Terry Silver says to Kreese, you want to see more? And he goes, I want to see a lot more.
Yeah.
So they send Mike to get Daniel and bring him back.
That's right, yeah.
So then the door flies open, and Mike Barnes is flung into the dojo, and it's Miyagi.
He was, like, springboarded in through the door.
I mean, like
Miyagi tossed this guy.
Yes, exactly.
And I don't even know if Kreese has popped out yet. He might pop out after Miyagi comes in. I have no idea.
No, he already popped in, like, before the ass kicking.
Okay, so Miyagi comes in.
Yeah.
And then Kreese and Silver look at each other, and they say, party time. And then they both square off against Miyagi. And Kreese puts his hand out in front of Silver like, let me take this one.
We're old friends.
Yeah, we're old friends.
And
he probably says a couple more racial slurs to him also, which is all over this film.
Okay. We'll break down the actual fight, but yeah, you're absolutely right. In all 3 movies, Daniel's enemies. Okay.
Yeah, they use a lot of bad words.
They do, and all of them get absolutely rinsed by Mr. Miyagi.
Yep.
And after their ass whipping, they've learned nothing.
No.
They laugh at him. They use racial slurs, and I don't know if it's all just like emotional responses, but not one of them ever says, geez, Mr. Miyagi, we're awfully sorry about all this. If it's not too much trouble, maybe you could show me some of your karate.
Yeah.
None of them.
I think Bobby would have got there at one point.
He was on his way.
Yeah.
And the other Cobras were too, especially because they realized that like Kreese was being a dick.
Especially at the end of that movie, yeah.
But yeah, during this fight with Kreese, Fumio Demura is Pat Morita's stunt double.
Okay.
And he's in all the movies. And he performs this amazing move where he kicks Kreese in the face with his heel, but it's from a downward dog position in which his leg bicycles counterclockwise in like a half-inverted cartwheel. it's so
It
freaking
looks
badass.
awesome,
I mean,
dude.
it is an amazing move.
Yeah, and you got to look pretty close to see it's the stunt double.
Yeah.
Like, it's a pretty good match, and
I
the
know.
editing does a good job covering it up.
Right.
But yeah, it's a sweet move.
Right.
I actually thought, did Pat Morita really do that? No, he didn't.
Exactly. Once you know it's the other guy,
Yeah.
you can't unsee the other guy because like
Yeah.
his head is kind of bigger, and
Yeah.
they've got like this
You can
Pat
kind
Morita
of see a wig like
Yes,
barely hanging
you
on.
You do, exactly. Yeah.
When you do a downward dog spiral bicycle, of course your wig is going to come off.
Me too. There's just like I can't believe they found a guy who was the same size as Pat Morita and who had this kind of moves. You know, like it's amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. So Kreese is out.
Yes.
And then Silver steps up and starts going, whoa.
Oh my God.
Like with his fingers in front of his face.
It's just
Teasing him, taunting him. Come on.
the racism that
Yeah.
like the idea of like people who are into martial arts who are racist against Asian people.
Isn't that dumb?
I mean, what the fuck? I'm acting like I'm surprised by this, of course, but I'm not because
Yeah.
this is America and that's what people do. But like, there's just it's a special kind of stupid. Just once, I would like to see one enemy of Daniel and Miyagi.
Yeah.
He just took out the guy who you said saved your ass in Vietnam. Kreese couldn't lay a glove on him.
Yeah.
And you're going to stand here and think you're going to face off. And when Miyagi starts like just like very easily dispatching
He sidesteps him and
I mean,
stuff.
just
That's-
doesn't even like.
He's so defensive, man. I love
I know.
it.
Like at one point, like Terry Silver throws this really, he's got these long legs and he throws these
Yeah.
amazing kicks. Miyagi, like, he catches the kick with such ease and just gently pushes him and he goes down in a heap.
Yeah.
Like, it's an awesome defensive move.
It's really good. And then Miyagi like has him down, and he's like, Miyagi gets like kind of in his face a little, and he's like, whoa.
He does the wah thing.
Miyagi
yeah.
waws back at him,
Right.
which is great. It's a
It's
callback
really
to
cool.
the honk of the nose that he does on Kreese. You know?
He like just does the racist.
He's
thing
like,
back
you guys
at
are
him.
idiots.
I know.
Come on.
Right.
Yeah. And then they leave, right? And as Miyagi and Daniel are leaving, Silver stands up. Everyone stands up. Hey, we're going to open Cobra Kai dojos all over the valley, and only John Kreese's karate will be known, and we're going to take over the world.
He cuts a promo
Yes.
on Daniel and Miyagi.
I know. I'll see you in the ring.
Exactly. It's like Ric Flair at
Yeah,
SummerSlam.
I was just about to say he's going to call him out at SummerSlam.
It's like,
I'll see you at All Valley on the 18th.
that's right, exactly. Yes. Oh man. And there's a really lame moment for Daniel again in this moment. He just can't stay out of his own way. The last part of Terry Silver's promo, he says it's only going to be John Kreese's karate, and you'll only be a memory. You won't do anything, Miyagi. And Daniel goes, yes, he will. You won't.
Wow.
It sucks.
That's the weakest
It sucks.
comeback.
I just like I can't believe they left.
I
want to
say like at least he said something back, but no, you shouldn't have said anything,
no,
Daniel.
He should have
you
said
just
nothing.
Looked worse.
Exactly.
I know you are, but what am I?
I know it is very much schoolyard, like a kid who doesn't know what to say, but everyone's looking at him, so he needs to say something.
It was probably me. You know, that's what what I probably would have done.
I've given a ton of lame comebacks,
Yes,
but
me
it
too.
wasn't on screen in a major motion picture.
Yep.
At least not that I know of.
I did a lot of no, like that. It wasn't even a comeback.
Oh,
it was
right.
just like a poor defense.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I did a lot of I would kind of like mockingly say whatever they said back to me.
Oh yeah, you say it back to him.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a classic.
It is, and it's something you can just like you always have it in your arsenal. Now
You
it's
don't
not
have to
very
think
good.
about it.
No, it's just almost like reflex.
Yeah.
But like it's better than what Daniel came up with.
Yes,
here,
it's very much better.
But yeah, so now we're back at the All Valley.
Well, first they do a training montage.
Oh yes, of course.
and
of course.
Daniel loves or learns all kinds of stuff, you know, and they replant the bonsai tree,
Oh yes, they do.
which is another great moment. I love all these. They're like these reverent moments that they have.
Yeah.
it's really great.
right.
And now we're at the All Valley. A couple seconds later,
Yes.
this movie is almost 2 hours long, and I feel like it doesn't do anything, and they cram a lot in. at the same time.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, they are really walking a tightrope here. And I know what you mean. There's a lot to process here, but like somehow you come away feeling empty.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how they pulled that off, but it's actually an achievement.
It is, actually, yeah. That's quite an achievement. But yeah, we're at the All Valley now, and of course we're at the finals, because Daniel didn't have to fight, and we didn't even get to see a montage of Barnes whipping everyone else's ass.
I know,
which would have helped raise the stakes a little bit.
I mean, I want to see Sean Kanan do more karate.
Yeah.
Because he's awesome. He's really great to watch.
The tiny bit we get to see, he's excellent.
Yes.
Yeah, like we need to see him going through the ranks, just demolishing everyone.
And I mean, this stipulation that we referenced earlier, of that you just brought up with Daniel in the title match. I mean, no combat sport would ever do this.
Yeah.
You know, imagine you've spent all day advancing in a tournament to the point of winning the championship match, and then for no reason, you now have to face a guy who's coming in fresh and hasn't exerted himself all day.
Yeah.
How is that fair?
Right. Like, and he's one of the best.
Yeah. And he's the defending champ.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like you get to Goro at the end of the tower. Like, why? That is useless.
Yeah.
How am I going to beat this guy?
Now that I think about it, this is kind of like the end of Castlevania. Because, like, when you defeat Dracula after, like, you're on, like, your 80th try or whatever, you finally do it, and he turns into a huge hog beast that you now have to defeat, and you have no more energy
left.
great,
phase 2.
Exactly.
Wonderful.
Now you have to do this whole thing all over again.
Yeah.
And, like... I mean, honestly, not that Daniel is as I guess, formidable as those enemies in the NES world.
He's not Simon Belmont.
Exactly,
I know that.
Exactly. But he's technically the defending champion, and if anyone other than Mike Barnes was across that ring, it would be a challenge.
The plan here. Okay, so they open up the championship match with an announcement from this year's sponsor, Mr. Terry Silver, president of Dynatox Industries. And he's out there hamming it up again with his microphone saying, we're going to open Cobra Kai all over and share the same values we learned, honesty and compassion and fair play. And he's staring at Daniel as he says these things.
Right.
And Daniel is just like on the sideline, like talking to Miyagi. You don't hear him, but you see him, and he's like throwing a fit, like, "Oh my God, Miyagi!"
Right.
You don't hear it, thankfully, but you see it. And then the match commences, and we get a bunch of bullshit. Of the plan is get a point, then lose a point. Get a point, lose a point. He wants Mike Barnes to hurt him and make it last.
Right.
So the way to do that is to keep scoring points, but then do moves where you'll be penalized, so they take your points away.
And the other part of it too is that, like, another new wrinkle in the All Valley is that, like, if the score is tied after 3 minutes, you go to a sudden death in which the first point wins.
Yes.
So once the sudden death happens, then he tells Mike, now then you get the point, and then we're out of here.
Right. This is bullshit.
Yeah.
What if Daniel gets the point? What if Mike accidentally wins before overtime? What if Daniel wins? I mean, this is the dumbest plan.
I mean, I think that they'd be okay with it if Mike at the end of regulation was up 2-0. I think that would still be okay.
Would he still get 50% stake ownership in Cobra Kai?
I
Probably not, because Terry Silver is a cold-hearted beast.
He is. I'd have to review the language of the contract to understand, know exactly what the conditions were.
I'm sure he'd get zip.
He probably would get nothing, yeah. It has to go exactly the way Silver wants it.
But this is what happens with villains in every movie. They come up with the dumbest plan.
I know. And
just kick his ass.
Okay, well, let's talk about the fight.
Oh my God.
Because
it's not a fight.
It's
it's a slaughter.
It is an absolute bloodbath.
Daniel gets no offense at all.
Mike Barnes is, like, so clearly the superior athlete and fighter, and, like, Daniel Larusso can't lay a hand on him, like,
not even close.
And it's totally believable too, because like I have faced my own Mike Barnes before.
Yeah.
Like in I used to wrestle, and I was trying to go for the varsity spot in sophomore year. I had the JV slot locked up, and there was the guy at the varsity in my weight class. I was like, you can always challenge them to take the spot.
Yeah.
So I went up against this kid who I'll call Chris,
Okay.
and he was essentially Mike Barnes.
Ooh.
He was really super aggressive. Now, unlike Daniel, I took it to this guy. I didn't win.
Yeah.
The guy, he was better than me.
Right.
But
you actually were able to hold your ground a little.
Exactly.
Okay.
I took like Miyagi's advice, which was, if you lose to fear, that's bad. If you lose to your opponent, that's okay. But just and don't just like run and cower from somebody, because that's what Daniel does here.
Yeah.
Like,
he gets kicked out of the ring like 8 times, and I don't know. And how is Mike doing all these illegal moves?
Oh my God.
And just they take a point away. They do it like 5 times.
The All Valley has to do much better enforcing these rules.
Mike, one more time and you're out of here.
Yes.
And then he does it like 8 more times.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
When we first get to the tournament, Pat Johnson's reaction to Mike Barnes tells us that Barnes has spent the whole tournament hitting people after the whistle and kicking people in the nuts.
He does a move where he grabs Daniel's arm, and then he's punching him in the chest a bunch, and then he starts kneeing him in the ribs, and then the ref breaks it up, and it's like, all right, no point.
Right.
It's like, what? How did he not get a point, A? And B, how is that not illegal?
So
I don't get it.
They said at the beginning of the match that face contact that's illegal. You can't do it. Which makes no sense, because that's how Daniel defeated Johnny in the All Valley previous.
Well, they changed all the rules from the last tournament, right?
Allie told Daniel that contact with the
kidneys and the ribs,
exactly, that was good.
Okay, yeah.
So that still exists, and I think that Mike was kicking him in kind of the.
So he's hitting the wrong organ.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes, he's hitting him where it wouldn't score any points.
He knows a lot about anatomy.
He does.
So he knows where
he's a physician, I suppose.
Dr. Michael Barnes.
Right. And so eventually, Daniel's on the mat, and he doesn't want to get back in the ring, because we're now in going to be sudden death overtime. Mike has lost all the points that he won due to all his cheap shots.
Yeah.
And earlier we'd seen Daniel learning this kata routine from Mr. Miyagi.
The family kata.
Yes, exactly. And Miyagi has to talk him back into the ring, say, "You look, like I said earlier, you don't want to lose to fear. You have to face your opponent." He finally kind of screws up his courage when Mike Barnes, in Sean Kanan's best moment of the movie, gets down in a push-up position and starts talking all kinds of shit
right
to
in
him.
his face.
Oh my God, it's great.
And the ref just lets it happen.
I can't believe Pat Johnson is supposed to be an authority figure
for 60 seconds straight.
Yeah.
You're shit, Larusso. Your karate is shit. Miyagi sucks.
He's a fucking phony. He's nothing. You're nothing. It's really good.
This would disqualify him for poor sportsmanship, right?
Yes, you would think so.
He'd be out.
Especially with all the shit that the Cobras have been pulling over the years.
Right.
Oh
my God.
They wouldn't be let it back in.
Yeah, even before OT, Snake comes out onto the mat in Daniel's face hey, how'd that feel, Daniel?
Dude, it is very pro wrestling, because Snake is interfering in the match.
Right, he slides in under the ropes with a chair.
Oh my God.
Might as well.
It's it's outrageous. And actually, oh my God. What happens then? After Daniel actually gets up and gets back on the line to face Mike Barnes. It's really something, because the idea that this hyper aggressive kid who has no respect for Daniel would be this psyched out by his kata routine, it's laughable.
It's ridiculous how he reacts to this.
And the thing is, by the time Daniel's done with his kata, he's back to normal fighting position, and he's not even moving anymore.
Yeah. I guess he's powered up.
I guess, yeah, exactly. It did something to him, it gave him some kind of boost, and Barnes is so turned around by this exercise that he watched that all of a sudden he forgets how to attack, and Daniel's able to flip him over and then hit him in the solar plexus for a point.
With just a regular move.
It's horseshit.
It's total bullshit. The ending is so weak. It means nothing.
Oh, man.
It's insulting.
I guess every one of these movies has to end with some kind of special move that like Miyagi taught him before, which I guess that makes some sense, but like this is not a move.
I guess, like, because they do show the kata earlier in the film, right? And then Silver even says something to Daniel about like, kata's not going to help you win a match.
Yes.
You got to learn moves, you know?
Right.
And so I guess that's kind of what they're going for with this. But it's bullshit.
It's total crap.
Mike Barnes would not be thrown off by this. He would just run up and punch him in the dick.
Exactly, dude. He would even if, let's say he was feeling polite. He would wait for Daniel to finish.
And then kick his ass
Exactly.
again.
And then just like one swift kick to the chest and it's over.
Yeah. I mean, this cannot be possible.
Oh my God.
This is the worst ending.
I know.
This ending is god awful.
He forgot how to do karate.
The whole tournament ending from beginning to end is just, it's barely watchable.
Yeah, they shit the bed completely.
It's horrible.
Right.
They shit the bed is definitely the best way to say it. So he flips him, hits him in the chest, and then yay, everyone is happy.
Right.
Daniel wins again, and he holds up Miyagi's hand. Yeah, we did it, and then freeze frame.
Well, Miyagi tries to bow to him, and Daniel's like, "Hey, fuck that!" and he hugs him.
And then raises his hand
yes.
up. Miyagi is the champion. We got a winner here, Miyagi.
Yes. And
Vince Vaughn is holding his hand up, you know?
Yeah, that's right. Miyagi's the winner. Miyagi wins.
Yay. She's the big winner. Your money, and you don't even know it, Miyagi. That's what I've been telling him. He's money. He doesn't even know it.
Miyagi would clean up.
Oh my God!
You know,
yeah.
and if
Miyagi went to Vegas, he'd pull Fredo's every night.
He definitely would, and he would knock some sense into that whole gang.
Yes, he would.
You know?
I wonder how he is with NHL '94.
He's
got to be
dynamite.
Great. He's got to be great.
Of course,
right?
he could master anything, so it's fine. He would take the Kings to the Cup with that thing.
Yes, he would, with the offsides off. Anyway. Talking about swingers for 30 seconds was more entertaining than the end of this movie.
Dude, there's no question about it. And now, there is one awesome thing in the tournament that I need to talk about. It's probably my favorite John Kreese moment in any movie.
Okay.
When Terry Silver introduces him during his karate speech, Kreese tucks his left hand into his trousers, and with his right hand, he waves to the crowd with his palm facing inward like Mussolini.
It's like he does an Al Bundy and then a Mussolini.
Yes, he does. It's amazing. Martin Cove really made a decision here, and I appreciate it. It's so cool.
It's actually pretty awesome. That is the best part of the tournament.
Yes.
So.
Oh man.
I wish we had a coda.
Like
we mentioned earlier.
I know.
All right. The tournament's over. Fade out. 2 months later.
Of course.
The bonsai store is thriving. Dynatox industry is exposed.
Yes, exactly. We're like their indictments
has
come
actually
down.
died. No, I'm kidding. He doesn't have to die. But no, let's see something. At least the bonsai shop.
Right. Kreese has actually died.
They're burying him.
Yes.
They turn him into fertilizer for the trees.
I want this now because it would be a really cold-hearted, kind of dark turn
it'd be
for
a
this.
dark twist.
Yes,
it would. It would be apologizing for the entire movie.
Exactly. Yes, because not that they murdered him. It wouldn't be that.
No, he just died of shame or something.
Yeah, or maybe he went on a bender or something like that and drove off a cliff. Or I don't know.
Yeah, or some of Terry Silver's toxic waste accidentally falls on him.
There you go. Yes. He went into the sludge.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
He sends him to, maybe Terry Silver sends him to Borneo, which I know is where he's dumping it.
That's
he
true.
mentioned it earlier.
He's
true. Well, you just went to Tahiti. Let's go to Borneo.
This is all coming together.
Yes. Wow. You taking notes there, screenwriter?
Right.
No.
Man, that's awesome.
Anyway, that's Karate Kid. Part 3. Anything else, Dave?
There is one last little bit about the tournament that's ridiculous. It's Terry Silver's ADR. There is a moment like they don't just replace single words. It's like an entire chunk of the script has been replaced. There's one of his most famous lines is when he looks at Kreese and goes, "I love it when he pounds him." When you watch the scene, he doesn't say, "I love it when he pounds him." He says something else entirely. He keeps talking for like 6 words after him comes out of his mouth.
I wonder if Ralph Macchio was like, we can't have that in the movie.
It's got to be it. I mean, it must have been another Ralph Macchio cut.
Maybe they said something really racist.
It's possible, and if they did that, then I'm glad that they took it out. But like, come up with something better than "I love it when he pounds."
Yeah,
him.
I doubt it was anything racist because they would have left it. It was
Well,
totally fine.
That's true. They were throwing
totally
those words
fine
around
at this time.
I know that's true. Yeah, but that's it. Yeah, the rest of it.
Karate Kid Part 3.
Yep.
Would you recommend it, Dave?
No. It seems unthinkable that I would not recommend a movie about the Karate Kid, but here we are. Yeah. You don't have to see Karate Kid 3.
Yeah, this one is skippable.
Yeah.
If you're interested and you want to watch it, go ahead, but you could totally miss this and be fine.
Yep.
I have a box set, okay? And there's a DVD of 1, DVD of Part 2, and there's a DVD that has Part 3 and the next Karate Kid on each side.
The Hilary Swank movie?
Yes.
Okay.
If my house was on fire and I had to grab that collector set, I would take the time to remove that third disc before leaving the house fire. This movie sucks so bad. I'm not going to watch it anymore.
Wonderful.
I'm done.
That's wonderful.
All right. So that wraps it up. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to the show anywhere you get your podcast. Rate it, review it, and most of all, share it. That gets more dudes listening to the dudes. And you can go to dudesonmovies.com and find anything you need right there.
Yes, and we're on Facebook, Blue Sky, and Instagram. Look for Dudes on Movies. And our email address is dudesonmovies@gmail.com.
That's right. And we have a question of the week, Dave. What's the question of the week?
The question of the week, what sequels have you found the most disappointing?
That's a good one. Very suitable for this. And stay tuned next week when we do 1981's Clash of the Titans, directed by Desmond Davis and starring Harry Hamlin. So until next week, I'm your dude Scott.
I'm your dude Dave.
And we'll see you next time.